Hi.
Hi.
I don't know
Hi.
why it didn't work on the other way
Like
around.
me, like on my page. I think we were both trying, we are each on our own pages being so organized.
I didn't start one. This has actually
Oh,
happened before. Like getting invited didn't work, and I was hoping that I could just ignore it and it'd go away.
I know. Well, here we are.
Oh boy.
Yay, this is working. And yay, hi, and hi to
Hi.
anybody and everybody who's here too. Hooray.
Yeah. Well, hi. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you? It's beautiful to see your face. It's beautiful to, it makes me very excited, of course, to have you be another, yet again, guest teaching for our Heart and Bones Yoga teacher training. Tejal's classes are always like the highlight of, for myself, of course, but for everybody. And just yeah, you bring so much goodness and really just you also just as a person do so much goodness in the world. So yeah, you're
Thank
wonderful.
you. Thank you.
Hmm.
Yeah. I'm excited to be back. It's like our third, maybe third year or something, but you always have such a great group, like really dedicated learners and seekers, and everyone's always engaged in asking questions, even in an online space. So I think that's always really good to share with people, like how much you can get out of an online learning space and get from each other. And that's always come through in the trainings and the workshops. Yeah. Did we lose you? Hi, did we lose
Hello.
you?
I don't know. I literally didn't
Oh
press
my gosh.
anything.
Oh my
And I
gosh.
just got like pulled into the ether. So here we are.
Yeah, well, we're back. Yeah, I was just saying, I think it's really great that the group you always cultivate is so excited to learn, even in an online setting, because I know people can have questions about being in an online space rather than being in studio. But because you have such a diverse group from like all over the world coming in, everybody learns from each other and like
Hmm.
from the material. And I think that's always really special and part of why I love being online as well.
Yeah, well, totally. And this is actually like the math always seems wild to me that this is actually our eighth year running the course online. And so
Wow.
like it's, yeah, so it's wild just saying that because but I think that just shows the power of online in the end and the fact that like we can still get so much out of it
Hmm.
well online and that we can still build that community and I'd say and you do such a good job again facilitating that as well like between breakout rooms sometimes and then just like and asking questions with the group and it's really kind of so yeah 8 years in of an online training I feel very continue to be pleasantly surprised at how impactful it can still be.
Yeah, that's a huge accomplishment, by the way. It's just like you're really weathered the test of time there.
Ugh, yeah, well, every year it's always, you know,
It's like casting the,
yeah,
like, what's going to come back from this?
I
Yeah.
know.
So
Yeah.
my workshops are December and then early next year. Where are we at in the process of bringing people into the training? Like, how's
Uh,
that feeling?
yeah, it's good. We've got people signing up as always. We have early bird ending September 30th, so soon-ish. And then the final registration closes October 30th. So there's still lots of time. So if people are still debating whether they want to join or not, of course, there's time for that. But what I also love, again, with the online is that people can if you join now, you can actually get started now. So even though our live calls won't be starting
Oh,
until November, it's like you can just get ahead. So because that's sometimes the fear. I think people are like, "Oh, I don't want to be behind in all this time online," and it's like you can get started now. So that's exciting, yeah. And we also give the live calls from the previous year available for so people could, if so, if you're inspired watching Pagel talk here, you can actually go back once you sign up and watch the workshops you gave last year as well. So,
oh, that's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
That's awesome. So the content is just like evergreen. That's really great.
yeah, yeah. And everybody who's ever taken it gets lifetime access. It's not like we don't gatekeep every year, like you have to pay us money and like that total no, you
I
know.
think that's so important because one of the key like components to continuing yoga study I've noticed is and learned for myself is like ongoing mentorship and just having a space to ask questions and Um, you know, like one of the wildest things that I experienced is how you can take a training and then really like have no way to contact that person ever again. Someone
I
once told me
know.
they went to like a massive teacher training in Bali and they had like levels between them and the main teacher. And so after the training, they could never reach out to that person ever again. It could be other people that were part of the training, but even that wasn't like part of the structure. So I love knowing that you're also honoring that idea of relationship and just like maintaining it because I think that's, I mean, it's part of the yoga practice.
It's so part of the yoga practice, and it's part of this like deconstructing the mainstream systems of power impact that is showing up in our yoga practice, and that
Yeah.
and that like again, to me that like those oh, God, feel good. Because like I hear that and it just makes me just, like about the Bali thing and just like that gatekeeping and that like I'm better than thou and like you've done this train and like that is the so antithesis to yoga and that's the antithesis to because connection and relationship and you're so right about that and that it's like and so I think every time, I don't know, and of course the bias for me right now is like the world we are currently seeing and the world we are currently in, I feel what makes me feel a little bit slightly better is like anytime we can not enact the structures that are keeping us down and that, hey, yeah, you can talk directly to Tejal, to me,
Yeah.
to, like years later. Do you have a question? Great. Hi, we're real people. Like this is like it's I think that's so it's small but big, like that impact. And also too creating, and this is so much of what you're sharing in the course too, is like creating those inclusive spaces. And I think there's so many levels to inclusive spaces. And I think that's actually maybe one that's not named as much, hey? Being actually like the teacher student relationship and like dismantling the power dynamics that
Hmm.
are inherently people try to recreate. I was going to say are inherently there, but then why are they inherently there? And
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I think the conversation that we bring up in the workshops, so there are two workshops. One is dismantling perfectionism, which you might even think like, oh yeah, I experience that when I go to asana practice. Like I feel bad, I'm like comparing myself to others, or it feels like, you know, everybody's watching each other to see what poses they can do. But it's actually a conversation that goes like it goes into perfectionism in a very different way that will guide you to see whether or not that shows up in your practice. It's like, let's talk about the framework of perfectionism in the world in concept, and then also what feelings are being evoked within you about the way you live your life and the way that this might show up for you, or you're realizing now that this has had an impact on your life, this idea of perfectionism, now that we've so clearly outlined what it is. And then it's like, well, because we're in a yoga space and because you do yoga in your life, it's going to impact the way you do your yoga, the way you study your yoga. But it also helps you to reflect on the way you cook a meal, the way you prepare to leave the house and go to meet up
Mm-hmm.
with friends and family. And that being the way we look at yoga as like an activity we do with everything else in our life is actually the key to understanding how yoga philosophy like can be a guide for everything we do in our lives, whether or not we're on the mat. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just this wonderful way into understanding yoga philosophy and the current context of the society we live in and the pressures that we're under, and how we might be aligning with the philosophy of the practice or, you know, misaligning with the philosophy of the practice. And then we do that. We have those realizations in community, which is what you were mentioning earlier.
Yes.
So people are
Yes.
chatting with each other about it. They're doing creative writing exercises around it. Kind of just like moving energy as it shows up, like in all the different
Mm-hmm.
ways you can. And I think that's been such a powerful way to connect what in this like way we see practice so dominantly as a movement practice with the fact that it's actually like a mindset practice.
Hmm. Well, and not extricating it out of the reality of the world that we're in right now and the systems of power and oppression that show up. And it's like, and I think so many classic kind of yoga trainings out there are very much like, here's your yoga philosophy, and it's like separate, and it's like as if it was this like untouched little like, and here are the texts that are like, and not connecting the
Yeah.
reality of the systems in the world that
Yeah.
we're in, and the way that those systems show up in us, and in the way that we show up in our yoga. And I think you do such a beautiful job of highlighting that and weaving that. So as you said about the philosophy, but like, so it's like bringing philosophy into our modern context and relevant, and recognizing, because again, what's yoga but like this self-awareness and this understanding, and understanding then of how we are all connected in our place in the world. And yeah, I get so like fired up about it, because it's just
Maybe is this something you do a lot of? Is this something you think about a lot?
oh Lord, maybe too much sometimes, but like, because this is, look at the world we're in, and it's like,
No, you're so creative. You think about the topic of like perfectionism, and then you're able to create like 85 pieces of content, like depicting different thoughts around it. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, that's so creative. That's amazing. Like, that's right.
thank you. I guess we all have our
Yeah, it's
it's
like a
my
discipline
yeah.
and a practice as well as like a creative endeavor. And I think that's great. I think that's a
Yeah.
lot of the reason why people come to yoga practice and then decide they want to be a person that teaches yoga. They get so much out of it. Sure, we all heard that. We've all felt that. And then at
Mm.
the same time, it lights up something in you that um, just hasn't been tapped into through anything else you've been doing. And that might last for the rest of your life, like your love of the practice and your ability to be teaching around it, or it might be for the season that you're in or for the next like 5, 10 years. But um, it's not just because you're in love with the physicality. Like
Mm.
that's not really who comes to, I think, the work that we do, who is drawn to the work that we do. And that's, we talk about inclusivity, and people are like, well, what does that mean? Is that just
Mm.
DEI? And it's like, well, that also requires an entire conversation too,
Yes,
you
yes,
know?
yes, yes. Yeah, and I think the empowerment, and so this is like my always try to like glass half full or else I'll fall apart. Because again, so I think like that when we're like, so enough of us practicing in these ways that are like willing to be open to seeing the interconnectedness of everything, and how everything is everything, and how that shows up in our yoga practice, like that's just, it's like it's such an empowering thing, and I think it's such a through line for the times that we're in. And because it's easy to feel powerless and to give up and to be like, oh, it's all falling apart, the world, and so what am I even doing teaching yoga, and like what is this?
Mm.
And it's like, well, no, these are the times even more that we need this is even more that we need teachers and people out there who are willing to be
Oh,
uncomfortable,
yeah.
meaning because it's unpacking these systems and how they show up within ourselves. Whew, and how they show up in our practice. And just as you said before, that like, you're teaching one workshop in the training about perfectionism, and it's not just perfectionism, but it's totally perfectionism. It's all like, it's the, why do we even think about and have these things of perfectionism, and the deeper layers. Every time you do that one, it is such a beautiful eye opener, and all like, because there's always comments in the class. People can put their comments, and anyways, the feedback is like in the best possible way, but it's not comfortable. We don't offer this practice of yoga to like, it's not a pretty packaged of like, we're just gonna feel good. Like we'll feel good, but we'll feel really
Sure.
good after and when and doing like the bigger work that this world needs right now.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
yeah.
I think you said I have to find ways to see the glass half full or else I'll fall apart. And I was thinking about like when we get to the conversation about yoga, I've had many students ask me, well, how much yoga do you do? And like what kind do you practice? And
Yeah.
like what's your routine? And I find it such an interesting question because um, inevitably they're asking to form some kind of foundation for themselves or to add into their own foundation that they're building. And at the end of the day, like it's completely your own practice. So yes,
Mm.
you're going to get inspiration and ideas from other people, um, but it's definitely your own practice to build and grow from. And for me, I'm like so counterculture with it. I'm like, oh, I have like 1,000 ideas in a little box in my mind. And when I want to practice, I just pick from one of them each day. And so I'm not going to be the one that says, like, yeah, I do like 8 sun salutations every morning. And that's how I kick off my day. Because for me, there's a real reckoning with having such rigidity in my routine that I then ultimately build a habit forming mindset around that gives me like the serotonin, the dopamine, like
Hmm.
the what I need to feel good about those moments that I just spent. That feels like unrealistic because I know now the way my life works, which is really the way a lot of our lives work, which is there's so much uncertainty and there's so much change and there's so much circumstance that is out of my control. So I feel a little bit like it's way more comfortable for me to understand yoga from the practice of um, no work is ever wasted, no gain
Mm,
is ever reversed. Even just a little bit of this work can undo great suffering and harm. And to think about
mm,
that work as like all these moving parts that I can pick from and like plop into my day that are then like more balancing and, nervous system balancing for me. So I think it's funny to think about the way that I teach, the way that I mentor, and how I'm just like eventually I'm like, fly free, little birdie, like,
totally, totally. Because
but
isn't that
that's
it?
also important, right? And I think when
Yeah.
you're, what I see from the way you built your training is like, exact, very similar mindset. Like, we're going to give you a bunch of options and a lot of context and like go forth, you know?
Hmm. Big time, because it's like it's the buffet of options. And who am I as a teacher and a person to be so like, you need to do this and like I don't know. I don't even know what I need half the time, and that's isn't and that's is the practice. And I love the way that you said the like multitude of things, because it's acknowledging the multitude of us, the multifacetedness of us as humans in that practice. And we've seen how these systems who that are directive and prescriptive and dogmatic and controlling, like, it doesn't do anybody any favors. Let's not reenact this. Our
Yeah.
yoga practice, because in that we're giving ourselves freedom to be and react and respond and learning our own truth and intuition at any given moment. And that's so powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
yeah, and I know, preach two birds, as you said here. No work, re quoted Patel here. No work is ever wasted. No gain is ever reversed. And, like, yeah, all right. Thank you for rewriting that in, because that was some gems.
Yeah. Well, it's a translation from the Gita, chapter 2, verse 40, that it's like, I just keep it in my back pocket. Like, I don't have a
Mm.
lot of those things memorized, but that one gives me so much hope and so much clarity on,
Hmm.
like, how, when I ask myself, like, how am I doing today? How am I doing right now? And then when I start to hear like things that don't make me feel great in that conversation with myself, I'm like, you know what? No gain is ever wasted, you know? No effort is ever wasted, no gain is ever reversed. But yeah, when I wanted to say one thing about, so you want to chant Om and Namaste, the workshop that we'll go into next year. It's very similar. It's like a buffet of options, opinions, points of
Yeah.
view,
Yes.
and also it's pretty matter of fact, which can feel confusing because it's so matter of fact, and these things are very different. Like, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, I understand that piece of information, and then we'll talk about another piece of information that's like a definition as well of Om or Namaste or a use case scenario, and you might find yourself being like, oh yeah, but I really understand that too, and now I have two understandings that seemingly don't align, and now I have to make choices. And I really love being able to invite that thought process in, because I don't necessarily believe you need to make hard and fast decisions about the way you move through the world, the way you teach, the way you um, share what you know. I think it's really critical to be in conversation with yourself and with others about what you're learning, what you think, and what you know.
Hmm. I know, but it would be so much easier, Tejal, if you just told us, right?
What to
Like,
do? Yeah, sure.
yes, I know.
Well, I'm not shy about telling you what I do, but at the same time, I'm like, but we are not the same. We're the same in that we
Hmm.
can critically think about things, but how we decide to move
Hmm.
forward is always going to be a little different.
But I love that because like the teaching is the teaching. So the very way that you're showing up, teaching, being like, hey, here's some options.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna tell you, and we know we all look at how so many like it's just so much more safe and comfortable to be told what to do, and to ascribe to a system and whatnot. And so I love so I just love, I mean, I want to reflect that like the teaching is the teaching. The very way that you're teaching is teaching the teaching.
So meta. Thank you. Well, it's like your reel. I was just looking at your reel about it's like over 7 ways to do down dog. And it's like which one's better, and then you get to the end and you're like there no one know which one
Great.
is better. You get to
Hmm.
decide, how to move through it, and that's exactly the same thing. It's like, is your meditation going to be silent meditation today, guided meditation? Are you actually going to journal in quiet time? And does that just feed the need of what you're looking for, which is like maybe an introspective space, or maybe
Hmm.
returning to focus? Like, what is a greater purpose? And there are many ways to achieve that, or
Hmm.
to navigate through that. And I think we just would all do better if we could be softer with ourselves and each other.
Yeah, yeah, because I think again the questions is the practice. So rather than going into the prescription and being like, "Oh, I am stressed," yoga tells me I should do, I have to get on my mat for an hour in a day, an hour every day, da da da. And it's yeah, no, but it's like the fact that it's like, wait, who am I in this moment right now? What do I need? And
Mm-hmm.
that's such a powerful question. I think that's what you're saying too, in so many ways. It's like at when we can ask ourselves, and we're tuning into us, and we're doing the yoga in that sense. And thank you for the reminder to be softer.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm like so excited again for the teaching space that you host. I'm always so excited to show up in that space and
Mhm.
like just learn from
Mhm.
others as well. So,
Yeah, yeah. Well, and especially, participating in it each year with you as a student, so as you're showing up as the teacher is showing, like every time. It's just like, so as the student in that, every single time I'm getting something new out of it too, and hearing it on another level. And I also just love the timeless wisdom of that. And I think that's when we're touching upon something that's true, is when it can continue to expand and go, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I don't just know this, so I'm gonna tune out. Like, oh, I heard Paige will say this 3 times. Like, but instead being like, oh damn, oh yeah, okay. Like yeah, like that's powerful. And so yeah, just the care and compassion that you bring and hold the uncertainty for us all, or with us all, right? And inviting and encouraging the uncertainty and the not black and white. Ah,
yeah.
we would be way more successful though, however, if we ATM'd this, if we gave dogmatic rules. But like, oh,
Yeah, we'd be
yeah.
successful for a period until people come back to us and they're like, wait, that failed me after a while. Why did you teach me that way?
But then they wouldn't be allowed to talk to us
No, no,
anyways,
right.
right?
Oh, right.
So
So
as
the
we, yeah,
system isn't broken, I guess.
yeah. Well, this is exciting. Yeah. And so, of course, anybody watching this, of course, if you're like nodding along and you're going, yes, I like this, or this is refreshing, or whatever response that you're getting, if there's a smile and a yes to this, of course, we cordially invite you to join the Heart Bones Yoga Teacher Training. Thejal also teaches at thejalyoga.com. Beautiful online classes, also really community focused, and a lot of different, because most of the classes are live ones too, well, online, but live
Yeah,
with your
yeah.
different.
Live classes, 1 to 3 classes a day, spanning from meditation, movement to pranayama, breath work, sound healing,
Mhm.
satsang. Yeah, so
Mm.
a lot of options between the two of us. And then, of course, like a deeper dive would be to join that training program.
Yeah, 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 and get our wisdom here together. All the
Yes.
fun. Yeah. Yeah. Enlightenment guaranteed at the end, or your money back.
Only 200 hours of your time.
Yeah, yeah. But that's the thing too, I think again, so the last little wrap up of the like, because again, my mind goes to like the gatekeeping of the knowledge too that we see in so many other trainings. And so like this course is downloadable. Like you can download it and have it forever and watch it on a plane or while you travel. But also like the people who have done the training with us since 2018 when we first launched it can still follow along in the live classes every year as well. You know, like we
Hmm.
really try not to yeah, gatekeep knowledge. It's such bullshit. So anyways, on that note,
On that note, yeah.
beautiful. Yeah, so get in touch with me here at heartbonesyoga.com. Go to the DMs if you have questions. We're reachable. We're
Yeah.
reachable as if anybody had been here from the beginning of this call where we were just yeah commenting on some teachers we've heard who create hierarchy and anyways. Okay, on that note,
On that
um,
note,
we shall see you inside the training, Tejal, and hopefully some of you inside the training as well. Thank
yes,
you.
absolutely. Take care.
Bye,
Can't wait.
everyone. Thanks for being
Bye.
here.